One step at a time, there's nowhere to run. Step at a time, only you. All right, let's get rocking. All right. Happy Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sab's podcast. I'm your host, sabrinasalvati. If you're new, I do want to let you know that I am also on Rumble, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. So shout out to everybody watching on Rumble and Twitter as well. And I know what day it is, do you? Happy St. Patrick's Day to all the people out there that celebrate, because it's not just Irish Americans that celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I'm in here in Massachusetts. So a lot of people do celebrate it. So happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you who do celebrate. And I hope you have like a good, decent beer, a decent one. Not green beer, but a good, decent beer. By the way, if you do that here, in Boston, people kind of like look at you kind of funny sometimes, like if you get the green beer. So yeah, it's kind of a thing. So luck of the Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day. If you've ever been here, by the way, or you've never been here, I guess you should come to a St. Patrick's Day parade at least once. That is a wild time. Like here in Boston, I've been to the St. Patrick's Day parade. It's one of those things you got to do at least once, but it's a wild time. I'm just telling you, people get their drink on, people get their dance on, bars charge ridiculously overpriced cover charge. But it's an experiment and it's an experience. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, we have quite a bit to get into tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's theme is, but wait, there's more. And there is. I want to give a couple of shout outs to people in the chat, and we'll go ahead and dive in because I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Greetings to ST, says balance the budget. Miss Sabs in good old George Carlay way chat. Thank you and welcome. Shout out to Nation, says this is so embarrassing for the U.S. Unbelievable. Yeah, we'll get into it. Greetings. John says share the community outreach associate of Pelham Parkway, the Bronx, New York. Letting people know. Shout out to CBC Voter, says Sabby, Eric, now is the time for a general strike. This means it is going to stop moving gas. Yeah, I'll get into that tonight as well. Greetings, FAFO. Hello, Sabby. I am sick of Jon Stewart. That scrawny Fetterman knockoff keeps promoting World War III on his whack-ass late-night show. Y'all were hustled if you supported Jon Stewart. I didn't know he was doing that. Actually haven't seen his show in quite a bit, but yeah, that sucks. Boy, I tell you. Greetings, Mousy. Tulsi's number 2 at DNI resigned and published his own reasons. We're going to get into that tonight for quitting. It's because Israel controls America and Trump. Tulsi better sharpen her pencil and start writing her own comments. You know what? It's a sinking ship. And Tulsi Gabbard's going to have to decide if she wants to go down with that ship or not. That's just how I see it. Greetings, Blockbuster says, hi. Shout out to All One Same says, watch words, get ready. Shout out to Steinbar says, happy St. Patty's to you, Sabby, and the chat. Greetings, D Milk says, I don't usually come onto our live stream. Is she usually this late? I am. Well, I was on time, actually. It starts at 7, but later in the day. Greetings, Mr. Moto says, Dumb's deep underground military bases. Shout out to Invisible says hello to Little Wisdom. Greetings, Miriam. Is this our live or is this a clip? This is a live. So I'm live Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday evenings. I am so sorry, GWA. I'm mad at Sabby. She was never supposed to get rid of the doobie doobie doo. You know, we talked about possibly putting that at the end of the show as the exit clip. I know people miss the doobie doo. I do like change, though. I do like change. And shout out to Rich says the dam is truly cracking. The director of counterintelligence who advises Donnie on how to proceed in war just resigned. Yeah, we're going to get into all of that, ladies and gents. So let's go ahead and do that, shall we? We're going to give a shout out to everyone who is a Sabby patron. Thank you guys so much for your support. Really do appreciate you for keeping the lights on around me. If you're interested in being a Sabby patron, I have 5 categories here. We have the ultimate, the Sabinators. Don't forget about those Sabsters. They're pretty cool as well. Yeah. And we have the Sabbies, which seems to be the most popular tier for whatever reason. And last but not least, we cannot forget about the members. All of their names are listed here, ladies and gentlemen. And you can also see their names scrolling across the bottom of the screen on the ticker throughout the show. I want to give a shout out to the new Sabby patrons. Let's give it up for TJ White and Mahamud. Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome to the team. Welcome back. Welcome back. There was a show, 70s show called Welcome Back, Mr. Carter. These shows used to come on. There was a channel called TV Land. They also used to show some of those older shows on Nick at Night. It's kind of funny now because from what I've been told, Nick at Night is now showing like 90s sitcoms that I grew up watching, which is funny to me. Like I will not stand for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Step by Step, Family Matters being a part of Nick at Night. I just won't do it. I won't do it. But welcome back, Carter. John Travolta was on that show before he was a big name. So check it out if you never saw it. Check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's theme is But Wait, There's More. Let's take a look at that thumbnail so you can see what we are discussing tonight. We have a huge update with the Iran war. I feel like there's just so much stuff that's happening. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with all of this day after day. But quite a bit happened today. Tonight, we are discussing Dubai's airport apparently on fire. How did they get dragged into this? All the Gulf states that have kind of been put in this situation because Donald Trump wanted to go to war with Iran. We also have an update, unfortunate one, that another member of Iran's, I don't know if you want to say leadership, but he was definitely up there. It has been verified now that he has been killed. Ali Larijani has been killed. We'll get into that. We're also going to talk about the member of Donald Trump's administration that resigned this morning because he is against this war with Iran. And this guy was a big Trump supporter. Trump's allies are walking away, including the NATO allies. This is very much a sign. We're also going to discuss, if you didn't hear about the Cuba situation, Cuba just had another blackout. This is devastating for the people, of course, but I have some positive news that is coming their way featuring some of the people that you guys like quite a bit. So we do have good news at the end of that story. We're also going to discuss, this is a big one. If you guys haven't heard, Michael B. Jordan just won the Best Actor Oscar for the movie Sinners, which I did see. I'm not a big award show person, but to me, it's not even him winning the Oscar. It's what he did after he won that I think should be appreciated. So we'll get into that. We're also going to discuss Megyn Kelly is reading Mark Levin like he stole something. Yes, she is. Megyn Kelly went after Mark Levin in the most brutal way, but I think it needed to be said. Last but not least, shout out to Brandy who sent me this story this morning. TPUSA has just been removed from a university. This is a big deal, and they state the reasons why, and it has everything to do with the direction that Erica Kirk has decided to take this organization. So we're going to get into all of that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the theme is, but wait, there's more. Before we get started, if you can do me a solid, you know what I'm going to say. Smash that like button. Thank you so much. And if you're new, don't forget to like, sub, and share, just like a Care Bear. Let's go ahead and get started with our first story, ladies and gentlemen. So, Monday, Cuba experienced another devastating blackout. And for people who are not aware, obviously Donald Trump has made it very clear that he wants to go in and take over Cuba as well. These blackouts are not happening in Cuba, of course, without the control of the U.S. government. This is the U.S.'s sanctions on Cuba. When a country has a blackout, a massive blackout like that, that means that people are obviously, they're dealing with perishable foods that are going to spoil. So if you have food in your refrigerator, that's done. Right. If you are relying on air conditioning, heat, or anything at this point in time, you cannot use it. If you've ever gone through a blackout, you know what this is like. I've experienced them before in New York City. I also experienced it in Baltimore. A blackout is not fun. Donald Trump is now saying that he can do whatever he wants when it comes to Cuba. Let's go ahead and get into it again, guys. I think this is a story that some may be sleeping on. Essentially, some of the things that they're doing to the people in Cuba with the ridiculous sanctions there. Sorry, I can't talk. With the ridiculous sanctions, it can lead to starvation. Check this out.
Another significant story we're following. An island-wide blackout hit Cuba yesterday amid that country's deepening energy and economic crisis. All 11 million residents of the island were without power after energy officials reported complete disconnection of the national electrical grid. Only about 5% of the island's power was restored by late last night, with officials warning the fragile grid could fail again. The blackout is Cuba's third major outage in just 4 months, as the government lacks proper funding for repairs, as well as the needed spare parts. Cuba's president recently acknowledged the island has not received oil in 3 months, and blamed the outages on the Trump administration's halting of Venezuelan oil shipments after the capture of Nicolas Maduro. President Trump was asked about Cuba yesterday in the White House.
Listen to this.
But I think Cuba's the end. You know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now.
Soon after those.
Let's just pause there for just a second. This guy just said this publicly, that he can take Cuba, he can do whatever he wants to do with it. That is authoritarianism. And the reason why Donald Trump can say these things so confidently and not give a damn is because we have a Congress that is just ineffective. They are not really trying to fight back against him in the way that they could. Many of them, believe it or not, even on the Democrat side, agree with him on some of the foreign policy decisions. So that's one of the issues that we run into as well. But just think about the mindset that you have to say that I can do whatever I want when it comes to Cuba. Really sad. Really sad. Of course, Cuba's president has a serious issue with this. And one of the things that we tried to tell people a couple years ago is that when you put heavy sanctions like this on a country, yes, that does lead the people into despair. That can cause all types of things. When people can't get food, people don't have electricity that they can't use. That can lead to things like crime. Like people are going to try to take what they can get just for mere survival. I consider this to be a war crime to turn off someone's electricity. And I want to send a warning to all of you right now. What the US government just did to Cuba, they can do that same thing to us right here at home. If they want to, they can just turn everything off. And what will we do about it? This is why I think it's important to pay attention to what's happening, in geopolitics as well, because the actions that you see the US government take towards these other countries, they can do those same things right here at home, especially if they believe in starting chaos.
Those remarks, the New York Times reported the Trump administration is seeking to push Cuba's current president from power. That's according to 4 people familiar with the talks. As the Times notes, the removal would be largely seen as a symbolic move, since Cuba's president is widely considered a figurehead who lacks true political or economic control. The Cuban government declined to comment on the reporting. So, Caddy, a couple things here.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely crazy. But you got to understand, too, that the Trump administration does have Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio has been itching to start something with Cuba for a long, long, long time. He's been itching to stop Cuba. Now, some people will say, well, the U.S. is trying to interfere into Cuba because they believe that Cuba is communist or whatever. So what? I mean, it's not our country. These countries have a right to govern the way that they wish to govern, and we don't need to be involved. It's interesting. We have our hands everywhere across the globe except for right here at home. I mean, we have people here that can't find a place to live. We have people here that can't afford to put a down payment on a home. We have people here that don't have health care. We have a Gen Z generation that has basically been telling me that they have no future in this country. And more Americans are leaving the United States. I'm going to cover that on Thursday, the number of people that are fleeing the U.S. right now. So it's just to put your hands elsewhere when you haven't cleaned your own house. It's very telling, right? Now, when we look at this energy crisis in Cuba, I want you to see this as well. This was explained on March 12th, so you can see what's happening here.
Cuba, which is enduring a critical energy crisis amid an ongoing oil embargo. The embargo, or government-sanctioned trade restriction, was implemented by U.S. President Donald Trump earlier this year. It's the latest chapter in a long-running series of tensions between the U.S. and Cuban governments dating back to the Cold War. The move has largely cut off sources of gasoline and fuel to the Caribbean island nation, dramatically reducing electricity generation, causing days-long power blackouts, and without electricity, the country's economy is at a standstill. Cuban residents are feeling desperate and outraged. Some have taken to the streets to burn garbage and bang pots in protest of the conditions. University students in the capital of Havana staged a sit-in to bring attention to how these blackouts have impacted their education. Our Patrick Oppman has more from Cuba.
So I wanted you guys to see that, like how this impacts them there at home. And I got to tell you something that happened on Monday. On Monday, I went to the gym. I got to the gym. I always bring my water bottle with me. Got to the gym. Halfway through my workout, I went to go refill my water bottle. So I bring my own water, but I refill like during my workout, I went to the water fountain to go refill my water bottle, but the water fountain wasn't working. It said out of order. So I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And it was leg day. So I was like, damn. So I finished my workout and I knew I had a couple of errands to run after the gym. One of them was the gas station. So I had to get gas, and I figured while I was at the gas station, I'll just grab a bottle of water and then I'll take that with me to do the rest of the stuff that I need to get done before I get home. I get to the gas station. There's a line at the gas station. And I'm like, get out of my car, go inside the gas station to get my water. The cashier says there is only one pump working. All the other pumps said out of order. So the first thing I asked was, what's going on? We were like, what's going on? We don't have any gas. So I don't know if it's happening that way towards like you guys where you are, but there was only one pump that had gas. And this is a gas station I go to all the time. Now I want you to multiply that by 10. Imagine if it was us not getting that oil. Imagine if we had none of it. We're still getting some. Imagine if we got none of it. Everything was just shut off. Our society would effectively collapse. That's what I want you to think about when we talk about what's happening in Cuba. So yeah, people will get angry. People will start riots. Like people will get really upset about it. Now, Donald Trump was questioned about this earlier Tuesday. Marco Rubio was sitting right there with them. I want you to hear what they said about this. It's wild.
Yeah, Cuba. Well, Cuba right now is in very bad shape. They're talking to Marco, and we'll be doing something with Cuba very soon. We're really focused on this, but we're dealing with Cuba. Marco, do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Yeah, I mean, Cuba has an economy that doesn't work and a political and governmental system that can't fix it. So they have to change dramatically. What they announced yesterday is not dramatic enough. It's not going to fix it. So they've got some big decisions to make over there.
But Secretary Rubio, do you support, and I know this is up to Congress, but do you support easing the trade embargo if you get more cooperation from Havana?
Well, I'm not going to discuss what we would talk about or not. Suffice it to say that the embargo is tied to political change on the island. The embargo is codified. And but the bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy.
That's none of our business. Does everybody see what is happening? Marco Rubio says that because Cuba's economy, in his opinion, does not work and it's non-functional, that means that the U.S. should intervene and take over and tell them what to do. Here we go again. We don't have our own house in order right here in the United States. What happens in Cuba, that is not our concern. This is why you're seeing more people start to jump ship. More people are jumping ship from the Trump administration because they're like, yo, this is getting crazy. You guys are absolutely ridiculous. And I find it interesting, a lot of these countries that they go into attack are countries that everybody has health care, countries that have a lot of these social policies that progressives advocate for. Universal health care. They have that in Cuba. Cuba has a longer life expectancy than we do right here in the United States. But if you just listen to Marco Rubio, he would tell you that, oh no, their economy is terrible. It's not functioning. What he really means is that their economy is not working the way the U.S. wants it to. If you pay attention to a lot of the countries that they go after, it's typically countries that have these programs in place that actually help their people, something we don't do right here. Most of our money goes to war. So he's been, salivating over this. He's been itching to go after Cuba for years.
Economy that has survived. It's that revolution. It's not even a revolution. That thing they have has survived on subsidies from the Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. They don't get subsidies anymore, so they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge, they don't know how to fix it. And so they have to get new people in charge. That's what.
And the relationship we have with Venezuela has been, I think you could almost say, incredible. It's been really good. It's been good for Venezuela and it's been good for us. And I congratulate the Venezuelan baseball team because that was a big win. And I guess they play another game tonight in the finals. And I said a lot of good things have happened to Venezuela lately. This is the first time they've ever been in the finals. And it was pretty exciting. Yeah.
When all else fails, mention sports success, so that you don't have to focus on the instability that you were causing in that country. When you overthrow leaders, you cause instability. This has been proven time and time again. But wait, there's more. There's an upside that is coming along with this. We got to give a big shout out to Code Pink, Medea Benjamin and the team. They are actually heading to Cuba this weekend, from what I understand, to give people there the supplies that they need. We're getting ready to bring 6,300 pounds of crucial medical aid to Cuba. The supplies are valued at $433,000, will be delivered on Friday by our delegation of over 140 people. We refuse to let the U.S. government suffocate our Cuban brothers and sisters. Cuba is not alone. They have pictures here. Guys, see, this is mutual aid times 10. Look at this. They got all these supplies ready to go. This is what I'm talking about. This is what happens when the people come together. So do you see how, once again, when the government fails or the government screws over the people, the only thing that's going to help you are other people. The mutual aid is coming in. Now, COPEAT may not realize that it's mutual, but it is. This is mutual aid. They are going down there to give them the supplies and things that they need because of the sanctions that are stopping them from living a normal life. We are we are going to save each other. Right? It's not going to be these politicians. We save each other. In fact, one of your favorites that many of you like just announced that she is going, and that is Katie Halper. Check it out.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Halper, and I'm so excited to be joining Code Pink and Progressive International and hundreds of people from all around the world who are traveling to Cuba March 20th as part of the Nuestra America convoy. We'll be bringing 6,300 pounds of urgently needed medicines and medical supplies, but we're also going to show our solidarity with the Cuban people and voice our opposition to the murderous economic war against them. Did you know that for over 65 years, the U.S. government has been trying to literally starve the people of Cuba? There's a State Department document called the Mallory Memo from 1960, which calls for, quote, denying money and supplies to Cuba to decrease monetary and real wages to bring about hunger, desperation, and the overthrow of the government, end quote. We cannot let this happen. This is sadistic. Also, did you know that the oil blockade and the sanctions on Cuba harms and literally kills not just the people of Cuba, but Americans? Cuban doctors and scientists have made groundbreaking medical discoveries. Things like an Alzheimer's treatment, lung cancer vaccine, medication that reduces the likelihood of amputations for people with diabetes. But because Marco Rubio is obsessed with Cuba and in a pathological way and even lies about it, he claims that his family fled Castro, except they left Cuba before Castro even claimed to power. So I don't even know what's happening. But if he could deal with that stuff in therapy, a lot of Cuban lives would be saved, but also a lot of American lives would be saved and improved, and the lives of people literally from all around the world.
So Katie Halper is joining that Code Pink team. Nora Ericat, I think, is also going down there to help them. Many of the people that were part of the pro-Palestinian movement are going to Cuba to give them those supplies. So again, in the end, mutual aid comes through to help the people. So I did want you to hear the positive part about this, because the government's going to do what the government's going to do. But at the end of the day, when you have like community, people will come through to help you. Let's go to some of the comments here, and then we'll get to the next story, ladies and gents. Thank you for the super chat, Measured Man. I'll be traveling the next couple of weeks, so I'm Team Replay, Sabby, and thank you for bringing back a spark in me that had dimmed. Your response to emails makes us go harder. Seriously, thank you. I have a story. You are welcome. Thank you, Fuzzy Balls. Don't cry for UAE, a nation that prioritizes billionaires over its citizens and looks the other way at all the women trafficked through there. Shout out to S. Beard for becoming a Sabby member. Let's give them a big whoop whoop. Thank you, Marlon. Question of the day: where the hell is BB? We're still trying to figure that out, because the videos I saw today too don't convince me either. We're still trying to figure it out. Shout out to JB, says, hello, everyone. Cuba is under severe persecution from the U.S. This is horrifying. They're essentially trying to starve these people. Thank you, Marlon. Cuba is like an unarmed pretty woman in a dark alley to a predator like Trump. Shout out to Alcas, who's been a member for 24 months. I'd like to ask, where is the Cuban diaspora that are constantly siding with Republicans? Why are they not speaking up? This is sick. Yeah. Well, some of them believe that Cuba is a bad place, you know. Thank you, Misty. Infotained. And thank you, The Feminist, says, Dump want to control all oil stores. He's after Nigerian oil too. It's all leading back to oil. At the end of the day, let's get that Rumble rant. Thank you. Shout out to Mark Pugsley for the Rumble rant. Sabby, I used to wear orange on St. Patty's Day. Now I have a shirt that says 0. 0% Irish. That's funny. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. I'll come back to that one. That goes at the end of the last story. Okay. Let's get into this news that just came out about Turning Point USA. So again, shout out to Brandy who sent me this story. It was just a couple of days ago where Erica Kirk met up with Sarah Huckabee Sanders in Arkansas to create some Turning Point USA chapter in one of the high schools in Arkansas. Like they're trying to get TPUSA as in as many schools as possible. Sarah Sanders was on board with that. In fact, endorsed it. And Erica Kirk showed up there with her to speak at this event, welcoming Club America. And while this is all interesting, and I'm bringing this back up again, is because the new news is that the University of Arkansas has decided to reject their Turning Point USA chapter. But just a couple of days ago, it was all smiles and giggles. Arkansas High School, this is what was said.
We are here to welcome one of the conservative movement's most talented, most outspoken, and most faithful leaders, Erica Kirk, to our great state. We're so proud to have her, and we're so proud of the incredible work that she is doing to help encourage students across the country to engage and join Club America, which we're launching here in Arkansas, and we're just honored to have you.
Thank you. God bless you. We're so grateful, and thank you for honoring Charlie and his legacy and his mission to have a Club America on every high school chapter across the country.
So that's the goal, to bring Club America to every high school across the country. Well, at this event, there were a couple people that were protesting outside. They did not want Turning Point USA in their schools. They had some things to obviously say about Erica Kirk as well. But the most damning thing is what happened just recently. The University of Arkansas has decided to remove their Turning Point USA chapter, and all the reasons point to Erica Kirk, the new leadership, and the way that this organization is now functioning. Check it out for yourself. The University of Arkansas chapter of Turning Point USA announces disaffiliation from the national group. What I tell you guys, it's all coming out. The move comes less than a week after TPUSA CEO Erica visited the natural state, which brought the governor's official endorsement of the organization. So this also makes Sarah Huckabee Sanders look kind of bad too. This is like that she was just there. But check this out for yourself, ladies and gents. We'll get into it here. So the University of Arkansas chapter of TPUSA announced on Monday it is disaffiliating with the national group and rebranding, citing concerns about messaging and the organization's focus. You don't say. TPUSA is a conservative student organization promoting conservative values and political activism on college campuses across the country. It was founded by Charlie Kirk, who was shot and killed at a speaking event last year. In a 3-page statement posted to Instagram on March 16th, the University of Arkansas TPUSA president, Dino Fantagrassi, explained that he had been with the group for years and watched it grow over time. I joined Turning Point USA the first semester of my freshman year. That was 10 semesters ago. This chapter has meant the world to me, and I am incredibly proud of everything we have accomplished. Fantagrassi said the organization gave him countless opportunities, but leadership at the campus chapter recently became concerned about the direction of the national group. So again, the criticism is not about the local chapter at the University of Arkansas. The criticism is about national TPUSA. Yeah. It has seemed that this organization has lost sight of what is truly important. We are no longer focused on our guiding North Star, that is fighting for conservative policy, principles, and values. This is part of the statement. Instead, it feels that we have become consumed with metrics, creating the next viral cultural moment, we have become reactionary when we need to be proactive. Who do you think that is a jab at, ladies and gents? Erica Kirk. She is currently the new CEO of Turning Point USA. And all the theatrics that have been happening, whether it's the Tammy Baker sparkly suit that she wore to America Fest, whether it's the fake crying, whether it's the town halls that she's done, any of these things, all of this drama that has come from this, the lies that TPUSA is now saying about Charlie Kirk, which I'll show you in just a second, they have a problem with the national organization. And they probably won't be the last chapter at a university to disaffiliate. This is just the beginning from, how I see it. These things usually start out, it just takes one to take that brave step. It goes on to say that Fantagrassi said the chapter's executive board reached a unanimous decision to disaffiliate with TPUSA and rebrand to Young American Revival. So this was unanimous. We have many grievances with TPUSA, which we will shortly make known to them in private, but I will share only one. We are generally put off by how Charlie Kirk has been used by TPUSA since his assassination. Statements like Charlie would have said and Charlie would have wanted have felt in many instances disingenuous and manipulative. Didn't we call this out? They've been doing this to justify for what they want to do. Whether it's Erica, whether it's Andrew Kovitz or any of the others that have kind of just took over Charlie Kirk's show, they have been using his name and his image to say, well, he would have wanted this so that people don't push back on it. It goes on to say, the statement that the Young American Revival at the University of Arkansas will focus on advocating for Christian conservative values and policy and will be able to support grassroots conservative candidates. They're looking at grassroots. See, grassroots. The move comes a week after Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk visited Arkansas, joining Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders as she announced a proclamation endorsing the group. So ding, 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 ding. Here we go. It has begun. It usually takes one to make that brave step, and then others will usually follow. Right? Now, just to give you an example, everything that has come out, everything that's been happening, when they talk about the clicks and the viralness and all of this jazz, some of this came from Candace Owens' show. I'm sure we've watched those shows. I'm sure they've watched some of the stuff that Candace has talked about as well. And it opened their eyes to things that they may not have known. That Erica is trying to take this in a direction that they know for certain that Charlie had already said he was against certain things like the Iran war, and they're trying to sell that message differently. I'll show you that in just a second as well. But ultimately, they're starting to realize that the message that Erica Kirk has been pushing for quite some time seems to be a contradiction to the life that she led. One just only has to look at this clip here when Erica was with her ex at that time, and Candace Owens was calling this out, that what do we tell you? This is who Erica Kirk really was. But she's out there telling everybody, be a traditional wife, and she's a trad wife.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning, America.
I've lived in China. I've lived in Chongqing. I've been to Romania. I've been in Croatia. Lived in Puerto Rico for a little bit. Really handsome.
You look gorgeous. Are you fixing my... I got a little bacon. Babe, that's deep in there. Give them a cleavage. People want cleavage. Showcase it.
Sex sells, babe.
Sex sells. That's me.
That's against religion.
It's not. It's within the confines of marriage.
I don't... We need...
What? We're checking the line? Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead. Checking the line. Roll camera one. Hi, I'm JT Massey. I am 25 years old from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I'm a minor league baseball player with the Colorado Rockies, and I'm going to be racing with my girlfriend.
Hi, I'm Erica France. I'm 25 years old from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I currently live in Venice, California.
So March 1st, we went on our first date.
Well, I got it wrong because I thought it was the day before, and I called him and I was like, hi, so I'm going to be running late for our date. And he's like, actually, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sitting at dinner with my dad in Arizona, and I'm like, did I mess up the date or what? End up standing up from the table to call her, and she messed up the date.
I did. So we went to Maggiano's.
Yeah, it worked out.
It was good.
We went to Maggiano's. I picked her up. It was raining.
It was.
Kind of different night in Arizona, and picked her up at her house, and later met her mom on the first night.
It's a big deal for the
Exciting
first night.
stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to scare her off.
Yeah, I'm sure she did meet Lori. Lori's always lurking in the corner. She's a pusher. I said Lori's a pusher. And I want to be clear, nothing objectively bothers me about this. Like, yeah, I'm noticing the pattern that everybody's kind of famous. Nothing objectively bothers me about her joking around with her boyfriend, cute, hanging out, doing whatever. This is all actually normal for a 25-year-old girl, young woman. It's not what she's doing. It's what she's telling us that she did in the future. That is what is problematic. I want to make that clear over and over again. There's nothing wrong to me about them speaking back and forth, making jokes, trying to be funny. It's how she will pretend none of this ever happened when she hits the Christian button.
That part right there. These are some of the things that people have pointed out and people have started to notice where she pretends as though she did not have this life or this lifestyle. And she says she's a trad wife, but she's also an entrepreneur. She's a businesswoman, and she tries to make it as though she was like this stay-at-home mom. And that's not the case. And by the way, if that's who you are and that's what you are, fine. But why try to sell something that you're not and say you are this and you're not? You know what I mean? So that's the thing I think that a lot of people are noticing with her in particular. Also, the other problem that we've brought up before on this show was the way that they have gone about like the lies, right? Like, again, Erica Kirk is the CEO. This is from Turning Point USA. Erica Kirk, they posted this video of Charlie Kirk, which was an old video, basically calling for regime change in Iran. Even Community Notes had to flag it and say this clip predates Charlie Kirk's June 2025 statement calling regime change in Iran pathologically insane. He opposed the war. This is what they've been doing.
How much do you actually know about Iran? Persia was a great power, and then Iran took a turn for the worst. Interestingly enough, there was the Shah of Iran, and then the Shah was displaced by Mossadegh. Mossadegh was democratically elected. Now, to be very fair, the United States and Britain got rid of Mossadegh, and then we reinstalled the Shah. Bad decision, which then led to the Iranian Revolution, where radical Islam took over Iran. Look at some of these pictures of what Iran used to be. It was wealthy, it was proud, it was strong. The Persians are wonderful people. Some of my closest friends are Persians, and I love the Persian people. And we should have a heart for the Persian people to try and have a better future. Regime change is very difficult to talk about. I actually don't like talking about regime change. It's very complicated, but understand that there can be brighter days ahead for the Iranian people. And just look at some of these pictures of how beautiful Iran used to be, how beautiful Tehran used to be. And it's very easy to kind of sit in your Western armchair and be like, oh, Israel's terrible. Well, you were able to enjoy free speech rights and a lot of rights here in the West that Iran used to have. And if you are serious about actually protecting human rights, you should want to make Iran Western again. How much do you actually...
So they put that video up after Donald Trump started this war with Iran to basically convince people that this is what Charlie Kirk would have wanted, when they knew damn well that was an old video and that was not how he felt before he died. We had videos of him talking about no war with Iran, no regime change. Let's not go in that direction. And then he was killed. So this is what Turning Point USA has become. So Erica Kirk is out there selling a message to people that she knows is 100% false and trying to trick you and manipulate you into believing that this is what he wanted before he died, as if those other videos don't still exist. Turning Point USA has gone so far to the point where Candace discussed this also recently when she was talking about, again, the Iran war and Israel, where these puppets like Ben Shapiro and Andrew Colvett and all of them that apparently now just pop up on Charlie Kirk's show and kind of made it their own thing or whatever, they're trying to make people believe that Charlie Kirk wasn't changing his mind. You see, this is all a part of the game. So when you see these things, you understand why this university chapter said, wait a minute, we're not stupid here. If we see these videos on Twitter, they see these videos as well. College students are on social media more than a lot of us are. So Candace pointed this out as well, because Ben Shapiro and the like have been trying to sell people a lie in order to get you to support this war with Iran.
It's a fact. So I shared more private messages so that people can understand how deranged it is that Ben is so shameless that he showed up to Charlie's funeral, $1 million, and elects himself the great defender of his legacy. I'm going to defend Charlie Kirk. And in the name of Charlie Kirk, I'm now going to attack his friends. I'm going to attack his friends over the topic of Israel, a topic which Charlie had actually changed his mind on. That's the reality, point blank. And here's what I shared. I shared Charlie backing me up when Ben treated me publicly like crap, saying, stand for truth. The people are with you. Thank you, Charlie. I will, and I will continue to do that because the people are on the side of truth. And I said, I know. I've been through it enough with enough of these to know that truth always wins in the end. And he then laughs and wrote BTW. He was standing on a couch and I wrote, haha, so good. And Charlie said regarding Ben, he is unhinged. Stay the course. This is how he constantly spoke about Ben. Like I said, I have about 300 messages between me and Charlie to that effect. Okay. And we spoke deeper also on theology guiding Ben Shapiro. I hate to upset the Shabbat Shalom crowd, but Charlie also was aware of the verses in the Talmud and its vitriol, its inherent vitriol toward Christianity. If you don't serve them, then it's problematic. And here is what Charlie said regarding the Talmud. He writes, there are some verses in the Talmud that will blow your mind. I said, I'm aware of them. He wrote, the Talmud is not biblical, but it is their rabbinical interpretations of Judaism. And then I did a deep dive one week and he wrote thought crime. And I said, yep, this is the real Charlie Kirk that they are now trying to package to us as like a faithful Talmudic Jew who was friends with Ben Shapiro. Do you understand now how sickening it has been for me to have to sit back and watch Turning Point USA allow rats onto their ship, the ship that Charlie built, to effectively reverse course regarding what Charlie actually felt, what Charlie actually believed, and who his friends actually were?
In order to sell this war with Iran. And so this is the first university chapter to say we are disaffiliating, but don't be surprised if more chapters don't follow. Sometimes it takes just one to break that barrier, right? And just to put themselves out there in such a way. This is not good for Erica Kirk or for Turning Point USA in any way, shape, form, or possible. And also, the donors are probably not happy about this because that means that's another group of people that you now can't reach because they don't want anything to do with your organization. In fact, it went so far to say in that article that they are going to organize on their own with grassroots candidates. So they are walking away. This is an effect and an impact of Erica Kirk's leadership, the manipulation, the trickery, and everything else that comes from being this girl boss figure who's a trad wife. So this is just the beginning. Just the beginning. And that's why they wanted to shut Candace Owens up. That's why they wanted her to stop talking about it. Remember, she did the whole series. But where is it? Hold on. She did a whole series about Erica Kirk. The Erica Kirk series, the docuseries. She did a whole series breaking down who Erica Kirk was. And so if we saw this, they saw it too. How many episodes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 episodes about the bride of Charlie. And that's why Ben Shapiro wants people like Megyn Kelly to call out Candace Owens. He wants more conservatives to go down that road to get her to be quiet and to stop criticizing Turning Point USA, because ultimately, in the end, that also affects the money. You think donors are going to be happy to donate to you when you're losing chapters? At the end of the day, it all comes down to money. And they need to get a hold of the youth, because it's the youth that is not more likely to be pro-Israel nowadays. It's a lot of the younger people that see Israel for what it really is. It's a lot of the younger people that are saying, no, we are anti-war. We don't want these wars. So they wanted to get TPUSA in those schools so that they can indoctrinate those kids and get them on that pro-Israel message and on the America First pro-war message. Hasn't been a year yet. Hasn't been a year. And there's already a chapter walking away. Let that sink in. All right, ladies and gents, if you haven't had a chance to do so, please smash the like button. Thank you. And we're continuing on. Eric, we can go to part 2. Thank you. And I'll go to some of the super chats here as well. Hey. All right. Thank you for the super chat, Kinman. Where in the world is... I said that one already. Sorry. Yeah, we don't know. Thank you, Fuzzy Balls. TPUSA is my toilet paper brand I use. Oh, Fuzzy. Thank you, Measured Man. Won't he do it? Jesus will fix it. LOL, TPUSA. Thank you, Jabram. What's funny about nationalists trying to bring back Christ through war is he comes and is pissed. The wrath. Thank you, I Am One. Those kids don't want that fake-faced, money-grubbing, lion-ass organization on their campuses. I hear you. Thank you, Dr. Daniel. Universities and student bodies should reject TPUSA chapters because it has a record, a record of racist and extremist association that undermine campus safety, inclusion, and genuine intellectual diversity. Thank you. Thank you, Marlon. Could University of Arkansas rejection of TPUSA be the actual deep state rejection? Ooh, that's a good question, Marlon. Measured Man says, no, it was her Fenty clip, half nude, 6 months before marrying Charlie. She had all the Tiggo liddies out. Oh my gosh. Thank you all, my hoes demonetized. Sabs, my fellow Pisces, today is my birthday and I'm sipping a scotch, enjoying the podcast. My lady, keep up the great work, love. Well, happy birthday to all my hoes demonetized. Everyone tell him happy birthday and thank you. Let's get that Rumble rant and we'll keep it moving and grooving. All right. Thank you for the Rumble rant, Mark. Like Jelaine Maxwell, Erica is second generation up. Oh. Okay. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to keep it moving and grooving. Again, the theme tonight is, but wait, there's more. And that takes us into this story with Megyn Kelly and Mark Levin. You know, Mark Levin has really stepped in it. He has been heavily coming after Megyn Kelly. Mark Levin is very much pro-Israel. He's an asshole. Calls everyone a Nazi, apparently. I don't know what that's all about. But he went after Megyn Kelly, and she clapped back at him in such a way that is not just laughable, but it's cold. It's cold cringe. Megyn Kelly apparently has gotten tired of his bullying, and she decided to release a video calling him out on everything. But it all started with this. Mark Levin said here, poor Megyn Kelly, an emotionally unhinged, lewd, and petulant wreck. She's completely revealed and destroyed herself. She's everything people say she is, but worse. Never an intelligent, thoughtful, or substantive comment. Utterly toxic. Well, Mark, tell us how you really feel. Tell us how you really feel. Megyn Kelly has now given Mark Levin a new nickname. She went on to say, Micro Penis Mark. Micro Penis Mark thinks he has the monopoly on lewd. He tweets about me obsessively in the crudest, nastiest terms possible, literally more than some stalkers I've had arrested. He doesn't like it when women like me fight back because of his micro penis. So this is, and at first, some people saw this and they said, oh, Megyn, you're hitting below the belt or whatever. I get it, but I feel like somebody had to come in and just knock Mark out. Mark Levin has been going after any and everybody that does not support the Iran war, that is not pro-Israel, that is not, basically kissing Israel's ass. And it's been Megyn, it's been Candace, it's been a number of people that he's attacked like publicly. Now, I don't know if he has a micro penis, but I think what she may be alluding to is the fact that he's trying to overcompensate for something. And that can be a big part of it there. Like sometimes people, they're so much of a bully. It could be that they're trying to overcompensate for something that is, could be missing there. It is caught on and more people are calling him Micro Penis Mark. And you guys have got to see like some of the comments here. John Root says, you just proved his point that you're emotionally unhinged, lewd, and childish with this response. This is fighting back. Yikes. Megyn Kelly said, walk me through it, John. How many times should I allow him to attack me in the nastiest, most personal, vile ways possible and say nothing? Did you condemn him for the multiple personal attacks on me? Show me. I'll wait. This one is hilarious from Yusuf Ibrahim. He said, Mark Levin's Tinder photo. He calls Mark Levin a Zionist gremlin. This is too much. This is too much. Bakar said, let them fight. But he's been coming after, a lot of people here, folks. And I don't think he liked that she, hit back at him in that manner. But if you go to his page, I want to pull this up here just to show you guys. God. Mark Levin. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'll get into the Joe Kent thing when I get to the Iran story. But again, because Joe Kent came out against, these attacks, Mark Levin has a problem with it. He's been very just nasty to people, and especially he's attacking Joe Kent now. So there we go. There it is. There it is. This is just an unhappy person. I don't think Mark Levin is a nice person. So if we go on here, you'll also see everybody who disagrees with Mark is a Nazi per Mark. And this is true. Look at this number of times. Look at all these people he's replying to. They're all a Nazi because they disagree with Mark. Every time around, Hamas are the modern day Nazis. Listen to the Mark Levin show. Everybody's get out of my country, Nazi. A Nazi like you. Nazi. Nazi bastard. Drew off Nazi. Everyone's a Nazi. So he does have this thing where he does that. So Megyn Kelly sat down and she decided to just spill the beans about Mark Levin. You guys have got to hear this.
And that's Mark Levin. So since October of this year, he has been coming for me relentlessly. I mean, relentlessly, in the most vile and disgusting personal terms possible. I mean, this is like a 70-year-old man. He's in his mid to late 60s or 70. Senior citizen with the show on Fox News on the weekend. He never made it in the prime time. You spend 5 minutes watching his show, you'll see why. He was not primetime material. We used to laugh at him behind the scenes of Fox because he's constantly red in the face and spitting mad and angry. That's his shtick. Okay, there's some very small audience for that. I mean, very, very small. But that's not my problem. It's Fox's and Levin's. Well, once again, he was at it over the weekend. And they don't always get under my radar, but this one did. And I finally had it. And I went back and looked. Mark Levin has tweeted about me at least 111 times just over the past few months. 111. In total, I've said something about him like a handful, 5 or 6 times. I've risen up here or there to say, would you stop? In the beginning, I said, please stop. You're going to get someone killed. I was talking about Tucker because he was so nasty. He was calling him an anti-Semite, neo-Nazi. Me too. Grifter, neo-Nazi. Like, I'm a neo-Nazi. Okay, Mark, sure. And it was very close in time to when Charlie was assassinated. I begged him, just please stop. But his only issue is Israel. So if you're not pro-war on Israel's behalf, or if you asked any questions about Israel and Charlie's feelings about it, you were a neo-Nazi that needed to be destroyed. So most of the time I have ignored those 111 personal attacks on me. But let me just tell you, he's called me the queen of the clan, Grandma Groiper, which is a comment on my age. Not there yet, but I'm looking forward to one day becoming a grandma. Groiper is the Nick Fuentes group, which believes that the Holocaust didn't happen and made jokes about Jews in ovens being like cookies, as if that's something I would support. It's this same group of people who, throw around that criticism. That took a mild comment I made about Nick Fuentes and why people are attracted to him, why he's gaining purchase with some by saying he's an effective communicator. And eliminated all the parts where I said, obviously, we are not talking about his comments on race or Jews or women or none of that could ever be excused, which I made clear. But my critics took that other piece of the clip and circulated it like I was part of his Groiper unit. I mean, it's just so dark what's happening. And I don't bring all of this on the show because it's like, I just want to do the news for you. I don't think you want to get caught up in my own or anybody else's Twitter drama. So I try to be very mindful of that and respectful of you and your time. I bring it up now only because it's getting to a fever pitch here with the threatened prosecution now of Tucker Carlson and the president now weighing in on the Mark Levin feud with yours truly, which I'm about to get to. So yeah, I'm a Klan member. I'm a neo-Nazi. I'm a grifter. I'm an anti-Semite. I'm reading here. I'm quoting from Mark Levin. I'm evil. I'm a narcissistic lunatic, bottom feeder, sicker, a disgusting fraud, hateful propagandist, low-life, sleazy, mentally unhinged lunatic, pathetic, flailing, disgraced. I mean, I could keep going. And I've said nothing. Truly, I mean, like one tweet here or there at most, just to like occasionally like a pitcher at the mound, give him a brush back. Like, would you just settle down? Like, go figure out where the fight really is. And the reason he's coming for me is because I do have an audience and he's very, very angry about that fact. Very fucking angry about that fact. So the attacks escalate. And I don't, I don't bring them all in front of you guys. I don't bring the security threats that rise in front of you guys. It's like, trust me, it's gotten very, very ugly for me in that way. And we're dealing with that.
Some of these bigger podcasters, I would say like people who have like over 1 million or more subscribers, like some of the bigger political podcasters, these people are immensely attacked the moment they go away from the party narrative. Now, see, we've had these things happen, particularly on the left quite a bit, going all the way back to the Bernie campaign days. But this time around is when I see it happening on the right over the issue of Israel, where people like Mark Levin didn't expect people like Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson to take this position that they've taken and to say that, well, Israel was doing something wrong. Now, Megyn hasn't gone as far as most. That's the thing that's weird to me, that he's heavily coming after her, but he's come after Tucker heavily as well, too. But that wasn't supposed to happen. If you're political media, political YouTube media, typically you're on one of these sides. You're either on the Democratic Party side or you're on the Republican Party side. There aren't like a lot of political media channels that are just like, look, I'm an independent, I'm registered no party affiliate. I think we need to do things a little bit different. I mean, there's me, there's my comrade JB, there's my comrades at like RBN, but there aren't as many. Most people take one side or the other, and you're positioned within that lane. The problem comes when you start to pivot away from that, or even just mild criticism of something the party has supported for such a long time. When you start to do that, people like the Mark Levins will come after you because they feel as though you are harming the party. Thus, you are going to harm their chances, their political chances. And so people like Mark Levin come after you and try to tear you down. And Ben Shapiro's been doing it too. You guys have seen the alike. They've all been doing this sort of thing where they're heavily attacking people that have chosen a different position. And their whole mindset is you either get back in line and toe the party line and support Trump 100%, or you get out of the way. And if you don't get out of the way on your own, they will try to embarrass you or disparage you so that you feel as though you have no choice but to go away. They'll try to get people away from you to stop watching you. Essentially, Mark Levin and the alike are trolls. And they're mad because she's no longer agreeing and nodding with every single thing of the party. Like I said, Megyn, when you look at the others, Megyn Kelly's criticism has been on the milder side, but she has a large audience. And even having that mild criticism, people like Mark Levin feels could hurt the party.
But finally, I had enough. And I tweeted at Mark Levin this weekend something to the effect of, I'm very sorry about his micro penis, which I really enjoyed. I mean, I thankfully have never had to look at it firsthand, but you can just tell. No one's that angry and misogynistic, because there's been lots of misogyny in his tweets about me, like all the time. Who doesn't have that problem? And really, we should be feeling sorry for Mark Levin. We should be comforting him, because that's got to be really tough. Got to go out on the air and like try to act like you're big swinging. And as you know, the only people who act like they have the big swinging are the ones that don't. So he's really revealed it to me against my wishes and consent, to be honest. But there it was for me to see, obviously. And so I called him out on it. And guess what? He didn't like his new nickname. Rather than dealing with it like a man by making a joke about it, whatever, ignoring it, brushing me back from the plate, he actually ran to the president of the United States. He ran to Donald Trump and had Trump send out a nice tweet about him last night, overnight. And it was a ridiculous tweet for which now.
That is partisan brain rot. So he ran to Donald Trump like Donald Trump was his daddy to get Donald Trump to put a message out there about him that makes it more favorable or make him more favorable to the American people. This is the wildest thing. How old is Mark Levin? This is not someone that's like 18. This is not someone that's like 25. This is a grown ass man whose feelings got hurt. So he ran to Daddy Trump to said, Megyn Kelly said I had a micro penis. Do something about it. This is how insane this is. This is crazy. This whole idea of, well, I'm going to run to Donald Trump and he's going to rescue me and he's going to save me. Be a man, Mark. Be a man. That's simple. You can stand up for yourself, but he went to Donald Trump. How low do you go?
The president is getting blowback because he does not have his finger on the pulse of where his party is right now, which is very unusual for Trump. This is very strange. The tweet, it's very strange that Mark Levin couldn't fight his own battle. But, you know, like true pathetic weakling bullies, he's all bark and no bite as soon as you punch them back. And look, I'm all for taking the high road, and I did try. But after 111 tweets, increasing the security profile in my own life and attacking me in the most vile terms, I think anybody could see that I was entitled to one below the belt punch, right? When they go low, we go micro penis. That's the way it's going to be, at least insofar as that bully is concerned. And sure enough, he didn't know what to do. He went crying to the president, who's running a war right now, not to mention the country. It's crazy that this happened. And Trump sent out a truth late last night. I'll read to you in part, calling Mark Levin a truly great American patriot. He's somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country. Mark is tough, strong, and brilliant. I mean, if he's so tough, Mr. President, query why you're fighting his battle.
Why couldn't Mark Levin say this about himself? Why does Donald Trump have to say this about him? It's just so weird. It's so bizarre. Who goes to the president because somebody called them a name? Ay, ay, ay.
That's why they call him the Great One. Sean Hannity realized it. He was special. Mark's a true conservative and has intellect. He's far smarter than those who criticize him. Above all, he's a man of great wisdom and common sense who truly loves our country. When you hear others unfairly attack Mark, remember, they are jealous and angry human beings whose sway is much less than the public understands and will, now that they know where I stand, rapidly diminish. This is Trump. He firmly believes that if he criticizes you, meaning me, Tucker, or anybody, that we will have no more audience left.
That's the plan. And that's the goal. And that's what people have to understand, right? That's the goal here. They're trying to get them to get out of the way. Remember when the squad was first elected into Congress and, Justice Democrats, the whole plan there was to have a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party. Remember that? So remember that Democrat leaders like Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them, they considered them to be a thorn in their side. Now, since then, along the way, many members of the squad, they have decided to capitulate to Democrat establishment so that they would no longer be that thorn. And then basically they vote in certain ways that the Democrat leadership lets them get away with some of these things to prove that they're still kind of progressive. You guys know how this works. We talked about the rotating villain theory before on the show. But the reality is that when you have a select few people that have a large following and the things that they're saying, that they're vocalizing are reaching a lot of people, but it goes against what the party wants and the party leadership wants, those people are now seen as a problem. Now, Megyn Kelly isn't a politician, but she's a podcaster with a large audience. She has a serious radio show. A lot of people listen to her. A lot of people listen to Tucker Carlson. A lot of people listen to Candace Owens. And of all the people to call out Israel, of all the people to say, no, this is a problem, I don't support this, they definitely didn't want it to be them. And so I think that the goal here is to silence people. Need I remind you, Donald Trump just made a statement recently that he wants corporate media to do his bidding when covering the Iran war. And if they don't, they may not get their license renewed. This is where we're at now, folks. If you don't say what he wants you to say, he's going to try to get you out of here. Now, obviously, Megyn hasn't crossed the line too much because she still has the Sirius XM radio show. So it's not like she's gone full-blown anti-establishment. She hasn't. But the fact that she's not behind Donald Trump's agenda in a way that they feel she should be, they see her as a problem.
I mean, I have 10 years to show that's not true. Now, yet, are there some who will say, okay, the president's mad at you, I'm out? I guess so. But I feel like those people left me long ago because nobody ever thought I was a Trump sycophant. Fan, yes. Sycophant, no. And, we've sparred many, many times. Again, he's not naming me, but I think it's fair to say this is about me. It's about Tucker, and it's about some of of Mark's critics on the right. Let's see. Those that speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside. So if you speak ill of Mark Levin, you will quickly fall by the wayside.
There goes the censorship. There goes the blackballing. There it is, ladies and gents. So it goes from you can't, speak critical of Donald Trump to you can't speak, critical of Mark Levin or anyone else he wants to add to that list. So much for free speech.
As do people whose ideas, policies, and footings are not sound. They're not MAGA. I am. And MAGA includes not allowing Iran, blah, 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 to have a nuclear weapon. So what he's saying is if you criticize Mark Levin, he says, those who speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside. They are not MAGA. So you cannot be part of the MAGA movement if you speak ill of Mark Levin. That's where we are. That doesn't hurt me at all. I've not been part of the MAGA movement. Again, I will stay MAGA adjacent, which is where I am happily. But he is going to further destroy his own coalition if he continues with this. Oh, and by the way, then Mark Levin retweeted it. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I mean, like, that's what you do when you have a micro penis. You can't fight your own battles, and then you have to retweet your praise from the president, trying to redeem you as not having one. I'm like, can you imagine anything more emasculating? I'm so horrified by the whole sequence of events. So now I'm just going to keep a running tally of the number of times my obsessive stalker on Fox News tweets about me. And we'll see whether it continues, because truly I think I could get a restraining order against him at this point. He is so obsessed. I mean, I have had stalkers pay me less attention than Mark Levin pays me. And I've had enough. You tell me, do I need to? All these people, who are, allegedly so upset about me insulting him physically.
And then what they'll do, because I know some people are like, oh, these are just tweets, no big deal. But let me tell you what they will do. Then what people like Mark Levin and them will do is they will send other people after you, which is probably why she feels like she had to beef up security. And then you start getting threats, like serious threats from like other people and stuff like that. I'm dead serious. Like, this is not a game. So it's very easy to see like what is happening here. Mark Levin is a useful tool of the empire, and he wants it to stay that way. And so going after Megyn is kind of weird how much he goes after her. I've seen it myself, like on X. I was like, dude, he's like obsessed with this woman. It's really weird. There's some crazy people out there. And the thing is like, she's doing the right thing by beefing up security and by protecting herself, because at the end of the day, especially in this space, you have to protect yourself. There are some crazy people out there, crazies. And I already noticed he started sending people to go after her. Now, there are a lot of things I don't agree with Megyn Kelly on, as you've heard me talk about before on this show. But I don't want anyone to feel like, they're in fear of their environment or whatever. And it sounds like it's heading in that direction where she says, well, we got to beef up security, that type of thing. These people are vile. These people are vicious. And when you don't toe the line, when you break away from that line, they expect you to just go away into obscurity, maybe write a book somewhere or something like that, but get the fuck off of the podcast space to get away from the camera, because you're continuing to convince more and more people. That's ultimately what they want to happen. And that's why he continues to go after her. Now, ultimately, I don't know if he has a micro penis, but his reaction by going to the president of the United States, it makes you wonder. Let's go to some of the comments, ladies and gents. Thank you for the super chat. Not the Cat Williams. Can't afford to heat my home, down to 1 meal a day, and must drop my health insurance while paying 2 months' income for property taxes. Such winning. I'm sorry to hear that, Nat, and you're not alone. You're not alone on that one. Thank you, Lee Barron. Your show reminds me of what the news used to be like. Wished you were on every day at 6. Oh, thank you. That's sweet. Thank you for the super sticker, Diane. Appreciate you. JOP said she went along with this previously. It's only different because it's her. Interesting point. Nikki says, has Megyn reflected on how she bullied others? It's nasty what Levin is doing, but I hope she remembers what she has done to others. That's a good point, Nikki. That's a good point. And Sandra said, I loved Welcome Back, Cotter, back in the day. Just had to sing along with you. You know, I do like to go back and watch like some of those old like TV shows. The humor is different. And the issues are different, because it's a different time. But I do like to go back and watch some of those, like from like the 70s and, 80s and stuff like that. The totally different time back then. Totally different. All right, ladies and gents, if you haven't done so, smash the like button. Thank you. And we're going to keep on moving to the next story here. We're going to switch gears just a little bit and talk about something a little bit more positive, shall we? If you have not seen the movie Sinners, you should definitely watch it. I saw it at the movie theater the week it came out, and I was blown away. I think Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job. And I think he's just a great filmmaker, a great director, altogether. But apparently at the Academy Awards, Sinners did pretty well. They won 4 awards. But the big story from that night was the win of Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan, the first movie I saw him in was a movie called Fruitvale Station. I'm not sure if you've seen it. If you hadn't, check it out. That was also directed by Ryan Coogler. It's the story of Oscar Grant. Really good movie. Lower budget, of course, because it's, and I think like his first major film. But the story is so moving and telling. Michael B. Jordan came a long way. He used to be on a soap opera called All My Children. If you watch soap operas, many of you may be familiar with a character called Susan Lucci. She was like really famous from that show, and she was on there for years. But he started out, younger, acting on shows like All My Children. He went to a show called Friday Night Lights, which was about football in Texas, high school football. So he came a long way. He didn't just appear like out of nowhere. This was him celebrating or that reaction to that win at the Oscars. He won Best Actor for Sinners.
This is the first.
Yeah, and that's Ryan Coogler right there that he's given the hug to. Ryan Coogler, great, a fantastic director. Like just I have never seen a Ryan Coogler film that I did not like. Never. I love all of them, but really good. From what I understand, I think Ryan Coogler's from the Bay Area, and it makes sense that he would do Fruitvale Station because that happened in the Bay. It's a real story. I think that you have to see everything that they won. How many Oscars did Sinners win? Sinners took home 4 awards, including in major categories, with Michael B. Jordan for Best Actor and Ryan Coogler for Best Original Screenplay. Throughout the award season, critics emphasized the tight race between Sinners and another top contender, one battle after another, which won Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Picture. I'll get to that in just a second, how I feel about that. But the 4 awards that Sinners won was Best Actor, Michael B. Jordan, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, and Best Original Score. And I do have to say, the music throughout Sinners was absolutely moving. It really makes the movie. I am not as passionate about this movie one battle after another. I don't think it was a Best Picture movie. And maybe I'm just alone on that. It's kind of like the message that was kind of sent was don't be a revolutionary because, it's going to fail for you in the end. And it just, I didn't think it was a Best Picture movie. I didn't think it was a bad movie, but I didn't think it deserved to win Best Picture. The incredible thing about Sinners is the fact that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan plays 2 roles in that movie. He plays his twin brother. So it's him playing 2 people, and they do the split screen. So it looks like he's talking to someone, but it's really him talking to himself, that type of thing. They go back to the days of sharecropping in the South. And they show you like what it was like for Black people sharecropping back then. But then Ryan Coogler just takes the creative approach and he blends this and makes it a horror film. And so you have vampires with sharecroppers. And at the same time, you have the music from that time. You have the soulful music incorporated throughout the film. and then there's a lesson and a message at the end. That's why I thought Sinners was such a good movie, that he was able to blend all those elements together and still get the message across. Very talented people in that movie. Now, the Oscars is going to be what it's going to be. You know, I haven't watched these award shows in a long time for the reason it's like they already have their picks that they're going to, you know, there's already the favorites before this stuff even goes into place where people start to decide, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to, you know, the Academy already knows who they want to give these awards to way ahead of time. So I think it was great that he was able to win. That is going to open more doors for him. The reality is when you win Best Actor, there are going to be doors that open to you that may not have been open before. But the real story of the night was the fact that Michael B. Jordan, after winning that Oscar, decided to celebrate not at the Oscar after party, not at some hoity-toity spot. He went to In-N-Out Burger. And this is the part I think that got even more attention. Michael B. Jordan was just spotted at In-N-Out Burger showing love to workers and fans while holding his Oscar after winning Best Actor for Sinners. Check this out, guys. He was signing autographs too while he was there at In-N-Out Burger.
Y'all back up.
Wow, someone was really standing there. Now, from what I understand, In-N-Out Burger is supposed to be like a really good burger chain on the West Coast. I've never been, but people in the chat, if you've been to In-N-Out Burger, let me know. Is it on par with like Shake Shack on the East Coast? Is it on par with like Shake Shack or Five Guys? Like, which category would you put it in?
Digital.
Yeah, so people were very excited to see him there at In-N-Out Burger. Thank you, Huey. Huey said Shake Shack, but better than Shake Shack. Okay, that gives me an idea of what it's like because I've never tried it before. I've always wanted to try it. But you can also see here, the other part was he didn't just get the food and leave. He sat down to eat the food and people were taking pictures while he was eating. It's so funny. Yeah, interesting, guys. So I guess he went where he felt comfortable. You know, he did bring up something about his family in regards to Sinners, and he says that he was kind of like telling his family story.
My own family heritage and lineage a little bit. My dad's side of the family is from Shreveport, Louisiana. My mom's side of the family is from Hope, Arkansas. So having a family history and lineage from the South is something that was always there. I guess realizing and contextualizing a bit that the movie that we were making somehow is basically my grandparents' story also. You know, like, you know, realizing like you only really realize your grandmother and your grandfather, you only know them as older people. but you forget they're like they were 25 too, having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And trying to deal with the harsh reality of the Deep South and Jim Crow era and how they were trying to find a piece of freedom and a piece of themselves.
Yeah. So that's a good part. Someone mentioned this too, and thank you for saying this because I forgot to mention it. But someone mentioned there's a lot of symbolism in Sinners, the crossroads and the cross, making a deal with the devil, etc. Yeah, there's a lot of religious elements throughout the film. And at one point in the beginning, you question, like, I don't want to give too much away, but at one point in the beginning, you question, okay, well, who is really the devil? Is it who they say it is, or is it, something else? So there is a lot of symbolism that is throughout that film. He also had an on the street interview that he did. Michael B. Jordan did a street interview and a fit check after his Oscar win. So this was on the street.
Hey, how you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's your name? Where you from?
My name is Michael B. Jordan from Newark, New Jersey.
Newark is in the house. Stop playing with them. Let's
Brick
go.
City, we here.
Brick City. We see the fit. Describe it today.
Right here, we got a little bit of Tom Ford.
Damn.
You know what I mean? At the toe.
Yeah, man, forget the fit. You see what's in your hand.
You see, we holding that gold thing.
Damn. Yeah, that Oscar, man.
Cool moment.
What it mean to you, man? For people like look like us.
Man, listen, dream big. Come from North New Jersey. People like us don't get to that stage often. So just know, no matter how big you dream, you can achieve it. And there's people that's going to be working in your life around the universe. It's going to make sure good things happen to you. Be kind to one another. Lead with love, and have some gratitude and humility to you. And I feel like your dreams will come true.
I love that. I love that. What's your favorite movie?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Princess Mononoke.
Cool. Yeah. What's your favorite meal?
Double cheeseburgers.
Love that. Let the people know your zodiac sign.
Aquarius.
Big Aquarius like me. What month?
February 9th.
February. Okay, you look amazing. Thank you so much for your time, man. That's for the culture.
Yeah, very interesting. But when you say like people come a long way, one thing I want to show you again, like I said, he came a long way. This was when he was on All My Children. Again, a lot of people know that as the Susan Lucci show because Susan Lucci was, oh my gosh, she was all over that show. But some people came to know him in this show called Friday Night Lights, which was about Texas high school football. That was actually a pretty good show if people haven't seen it. And then later on, you just never know. You never know what could happen. Someone shared this. They said Chadwick Boseman would be proud of Michael B. Jordan. So Chadwick Boseman, again, worked with Michael B. Jordan in the movie Black Panther. I think he would be proud too. So you never know where people are going to go. Michael B. Jordan said the girls used to make fun of him and he was picked on and all these types of things back in the day. You never know where people are going to go. Never know. Let's go to some of the comments here, ladies and gents. Eric, we can go to part 3 of Type VNC. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. Hard hit. In-N-Out is head and shoulders above Five Guys and Shake Shack. Okay, I gotta try it then. I wish we had In-N-Out on the East Coast. Thank you, Marlon. Bigger than Five Guys on the West Coast. JB says, I'm from Camden, so Mike is basically a homeboy. Yeah, I guess so. Thank you, Kenman. Loved Friday Night Lights. Yeah, I did too. I like that. I love the sports shows, like the football shows and the basketball shows. That other movie, the other show, they didn't keep the main cast anymore. All American, which was about the college. Actually, they were high school football players, but he was trying to get recruited by college. I like that too. I like those, like the sports shows. Always kind of have. Okay. All right, ladies and gents. Hey. Thank you for hitting the like button if you've done so. And then we're going to move on to the big story of the night, which is this update with the Iran war, which is very, very telling. Let's get started with the allies. Donald Trump's allies are fleeing away from him in regards to the Iran war. In fact, the most damning resignation that happened Tuesday morning came from his own peeps. Check this out. This was a big announcement. Joe Kent, who is the director of National Counterterrorism Center, he resigned Tuesday morning. He resigned in protest of the Iran war. I want to take you back to what Joe said about being against putting boots on the ground, and then I'm going to show you his statement.
That is a terrible idea. U.S. boots should not be on the ground inside Israel. The THAAD missile system can be operated from Jordan, where our troops aren't under direct attack, or it can be operated offshore in the Mediterranean. Putting boots on the ground, that is essentially an act of war, because what happens when an Iranian ballistic missile hits them or when one of the proxy groups hits them? Then next thing you know, we're at war that no one voted for. It's Congress's job to ensure that there's a check on the executive branch, regardless of who's in power, to ensure that our troops aren't blindly led off to war as we had for the previous 20 years. That is a terrible idea. U.S. boots should not.
Yeah. So you guys hear this? Okay. So this guy, Joe Kent, he was a big Trump supporter. He also ran for Congress. This guy just resigned. And it is really big news because of what he said in his statement. So you're starting to see some of those allies that Donald Trump had push back against him. And Joe isn't the first, and he won't be the last. After much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. It has been an honor to serve under POTUS, and he's talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and leading the professionals at NCTC. May God bless America. However, when you look at Joe's statement, let's get into this. After much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. That part there, I think, is one of the most damning things, but it's true that he said, because he's basically telling everybody else that Israel has America by the balls, right? If you can imagine, Joe Kent is being heavily attacked right now online. I support the values and the foreign policies that you campaigned on in 2016, 2020, 2024, which you enacted in your first term. Until June of 2025, you understood that the wars in the Middle East were a trap that robbed America of the precious lives of our patriots and depleted the wealth and prosperity of our nation. In your first administration, you understood better than any modern president how to decisively apply military power without getting us drawn into never-ending wars. You demonstrated this by killing Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. That's the hilarious part here, is that he actually thinks this was a win. Like killing Soleimani, that just escalated things. And defeating ISIS is a product of Israel. So it's not that Joe is all aware, right? Earlier in this administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that woefully undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S. and that you should strike now. There was a clear path to a swift victory. This was a lie, and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into a disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times and a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people nor justifies the cost of American lives. I pray that you will reflect upon what we are doing in Iran and who we are doing it for. The time for bold action is now. You can reverse course and chart a new path for our nation. or you can allow us to slip further toward decline and chaos. You hold the cards. It was an honor to serve in your administration and to serve your great nation. So that is the resignation there of Joe Kent, big Trump supporter, who is out. That is one of the allies that just, boop, I'm out, not feeling this, walked away. Now, I will say this. I don't believe that Donald Trump was tricked or duped. I don't know why people keep saying that. I think that Donald Trump knew exactly what he was going to do the moment he took that money from Miriam Adelson. Miriam Adelson wanted the United States to go to war with Iran. Donald Trump didn't take that money with not being well aware of that. So we have to get out of this talking point that Donald Trump was tricked. He's a grown-ass man. He knew what he was walking into. But Joe is gone. That says something. That's the director of national intelligence, national counterism. He's out. Donald Trump is losing allies left and right because of this war with Iran. Now, of course, Joe Kent is getting heavily attacked. Here is Representative Don Bacon. Good riddance. Iran has murdered more than 1,000 Americans. Their EFP landmines were the deadliest in Iraq. So now we're blaming them for the Iraq war. Anti-Semitism is an evil I detest, and we surely don't want it in our government. So now Joe Kent is anti-Semitic because he walked away. You see how this works? Anybody who's against going to war for Israel apparently is anti-Semitic. It's just crazy. It's wild at this point in time. He's not the only one. Apparently, Donald Trump reached out to George W. Bush, of all people, asking him for help and insight on the war with Iran. You guys realize there's a reason why none of these other presidents decided to go to war with Iran, because they knew that this would be a clusterfuck. They knew it would be a disaster. Apparently, George W. Bush has nothing to say to Donald Trump. Per NBC News, the president reached out to the former president about bombing Iran. An aide for George W. Bush says they haven't been in touch. An aide for Bill Clinton says whoever Trump was referring to was not Clinton. An Obama aide says no recent conversations have taken place between Obama and Trump. A source familiar with the matter said Trump was referring to was not Joe Biden. So Donald Trump is reaching out to past presidents, asking them for some type of help here with Iran, and they are declining to speak to Donald Trump. The one thing they all knew is that Iran could really hit hard. Netanyahu tried to convince the other presidents to go to war with Iran as well. So Donald Trump wasn't the first. Allies walking away left and right, including NATO. Some of the NATO countries have rejected Donald Trump to his face. Donald Trump said, we need you to come in and help help us get Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz. Well, some of these NATO countries that have been allies of the United States said, this is not our war, including, of all people, Germany. Check this out.
But he's frustrated with American allies.
Numerous countries have told me they're on the way. Some are very enthusiastic about it, and some aren't. Some are countries that we've helped for many, many years. We've protected them from horrible outside sources, and they weren't that enthusiastic. I just want the fake news media and everybody else to remember that that was said, because I've been a big critic of all of the protecting of countries, because I know that we'll protect them. And if we ever needed help, they won't be there for us.
All right.
Well,
our reporters.
So you can't. So again, when the NATO allies start to tell you that they want nothing to do with this and you're on your own, this is an embarrassment for Donald Trump. And the reality is, you guys know Donald Trump does not like to lose. He doesn't like to be a loser, but he's a loser. And this is where we're at now. And he got himself into this war and just assuming that these other countries would just come in and help out just like that. But that's not how this works. I want to show you the countries that decided to bow out here. Again, he's mad that actually I'll bring this forward here. The UK, you know, they're simps. So not the people, but the Starmer from the UK is a simp, of course. So let me show you how the other countries were like held to the no.
Urges here right now.
Members of NATO are responding after President Trump warned that the alliance would face a, quote, very bad future if it doesn't help secure the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the EU's foreign policy chief appeared to agree with President Trump that it is in Europe's interest to keep the strait open, but also added it's, quote, out of NATO's area of action. And a spokesperson for German Chancellor Friedrich Merz struck a more defiant tone, saying it is not NATO's war. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spoke about the situation earlier.
We have to reopen the Strait of Hormuz to ensure stability in the market. That is not a simple task. So we're working with all of our allies, including our European partners, to bring together a viable collective plan that can restore freedom of navigation in the region as quickly as possible and ease the economic impacts.
I think this is really going to show another divide here where some of these NATO countries are just like, look, enough is enough. You started this war with Iran, not us. Now you're trying to bring us into this to help you out. And so Donald Trump said all of that. And now he's saying he doesn't need them. It's so much different stuff like every day. I'm not kidding you guys. Like every time I turn around, it's a different story. Now Donald Trump is saying that he doesn't really need their help. These are the countries, here's a list here, that said hell to the no. Italy, France, the UK. UK said no previously, but now they're like, well, we got to try to help. Germany, Spain has been on a hell no for a minute. Spain said no to a lot of things recently. Japan, Australia, Norway, Canada, China, of course, the Netherlands, South Korea. It's time for Donald Trump to apologize to Iran and beg for an end to the war he started. But again, you guys know that Donald Trump doesn't like to lose. The last thing he likes is to be embarrassed as well. And that's why he's trying to drag these other countries into this to try to get him out of this. Imagine bombing a country, bombing a school full of children, and then telling them, oh, by the way, and you better keep that damn strait open so we can get that oil. It's absolutely insane if you think about it. But that's where we're at now. But wait, there's more. Earlier, Tuesday morning, Donald Trump is now saying he doesn't need anybody to help him with the Strait of Hormuz.
What progress have you made, Mr. President, in getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their Navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their Air Force is now decimated. They have no Air Force, no Navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess one of their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing. The man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks, he was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil.
You see the lies they continue to tell? When we explained to you guys that Mossad was actually killing those people, not the Iranian people. The Iranian people are not killing their own people. These are the same people that try to convince you that Russia blew up its own damn pipeline. Like, come on, people, use some common sense. Like, you really got to think here. So now he says he doesn't need this help from any of these countries. This is an embarrassment. The United States right now is a walking embarrassment. Donald Trump talked all big and thought he could get himself into something that would be an easy win. He definitely underestimated Iran. I don't understand this. And then you got Pete Hegseth in there, who is not like Pete Hegseth was a general. Yes, he served in the military, but it's not like he was a top guy. And Donald Trump is listening to these people. And of course, Benjamin Netanyahu, who may or may not be alive. I don't know. So it's an absolute clusterfuck.
Group. I mean, they've killed much more than 32,000 people. And the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And all of the NATO allies agreed with us. But they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world. And they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, oh, you shouldn't do it. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential.
And we can only listen to so much of this because the continued lies, they would have had a nuclear weapon. No, it's not. So the director who just resigned just put in his statement that Iran posed no imminent threat to the United States. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're trying to continue to sell this war. In reference to the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranian foreign minister said it actually is open. It's just not open to the Zionists.
They are asking other countries to come and help them so that the Strait of Hormuz remains open, which, of course, from our perspective, it is open. It is only closed to our enemies, to those who carried out unjust aggression against our country and to their allies. We have not sent any message. We are not asking for a ceasefire. But this war must come to an end in a way that it will not be repeated again.
Yeah. If you obliterated their military power, they would be surrendering. They're not surrendering. Donald Trump is just telling people that because he doesn't want to admit that he is losing. The U.S. and Israel are losing this war. And, he doesn't want to face defeat. I thought it was kind of interesting. He's like, yeah, we just closed it to the Zionists, basically. And here he is admitting that he did not expect Iran to go after the Gulf nations. Now, this leads us into the Dubai airport, which was not directly hit, but the fuel station that was next to it was hit by Iran. And that basically, spread to the airport. So Dubai airport was also on fire. So he says here, I didn't think that they were going to get the Gulf states involved in this. Yeah, you did. Professor Morandi came on this show, many other shows. They talked about this, that if you attack Iran, they are going to attack those military bases in the Gulf nations, that they're going to attack the oil depots in the Gulf nations. Yes, you did know. So it's just another lie by Donald Trump. And now I would imagine what the phone call has been like with the Prince of Saudi Arabia and Donald Trump, also the royalty in the UAE. I could only imagine, because they're probably sitting there like, you dragged us into something that we had nothing to do with. And now, like, our country is getting hit because you wanted this vanity war with Iran.
Iran, who's truly a nation of great terror and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. And the other one, they fought back. They could have yielded. But think of it, if we weren't around, they had tremendous power. They had thousands of missiles, most of which we've terminated. They had thousands of drones. They were making drones and missiles all over the place. We've knocked out most of those factories. I mean, now they're sending out 2 or 3 missiles. Now, they've still got some. They might have 8% left. But mostly they've been eliminated. They've been terminated by what we did. And what
he's starting to slur his words. No, most of them have not been eliminated. That's why he called on the other countries for help. So no, most of them have not been eliminated. However, when we do talk about the Gulf states here, I do want you guys to see. We'll get to that in just a second. Did I show the Saudi Arabia part? Let me see if I show Saudi Arabia. Here we go. This was the airport in Dubai. Look at this. Now, see, Iran struck a fueling station. And then, of course, this spread to the airport. The fueling station was right next to the airport. But according to Donald Trump, Iran doesn't have anything. See what I mean when they tell you they don't have anything left? They've been doing this. So they told you they will continue to do this until you get the hell out. And that's really where we're at now, folks. There's another one here that you can see of the Dubai airport.
Authorities in Dubai say a drone incident near the international airport has damaged a fuel tank on site. The Dubai government media office says a fire broke out following the incident, but has since been brought under control by civil defense teams. Officials say no injuries have been reported so far. Dubai's Civil Aviation Authority temporarily suspended flights at Dubai International as a precautionary measure to ensure the safety of passengers and staff. Now, Zain Basravi is monitoring developments live for us here in Doha. So we had that attack, but there have been more attacks overnight.
That is correct. Well, just in the last few minutes, the Crisis Management Authority of the UAE announced that air defenses are now dealing with a missile threat and urged people to remain safe, in place, and follow warnings and updates from official websites. So that was just at 7:51 a.m. on their X account on social media. And this comes after these early morning attacks on Dubai International Airport. As you said, a temporary suspension of flights after a fire on a fuel tank that was sparked by a drone impact. It wasn't one that was intercepted. What we understand from the official Dubai authorities is that it was when a drone made impact and sparked a fire on a fuel tank. Flights have been diverted. The airport has been closed. We have to remind people that this is the busiest international airport by commercial air traffic and air travel in the world. So disruptions to already limited flight schedules at this airport will have knock-on effects throughout the day, likely again throughout the week. And again, it was another busy morning. Qatar and Kuwait taking down multiple drone attacks in the last 24 hours. Bahrain this morning woke up to air raid sirens, and Saudi Arabia reporting that it intercepted 23 drones in the east of the country in 3 separate waves. That was after the early morning hours between 3 and 4 a.m. They reported intercepting 37 drones. That was in the early hours of this morning. But as we step into week 3 of this war in Iran's retaliation for coming under attack, it is clear that the UAE is bearing the brunt of Iran's retaliation around the region against its neighbors in the GCC.
But according to Donald Trump, they only have a little bit left. And I would say, I don't even think they've even fired off their most powerful weapons. You save that for the end. You don't use those right away. So Donald Trump needs to just admit defeat. But again, ego is a hell of a drug, and he's not willing to do that. right now, it is showing you, and I'm surprised Fox News actually shared this, shifting allegiances. Support for Israel plummets to 32% among Americans. It continues to go down. Even all the fear mongering about Iran, it's not shifting the pattern. Down from 47% 3 years ago as Democrats' positive views collapsed to just 13%, a dramatic 21-point drop. You see this? More people are still shifting away from Israel. And this is where I warned you guys again about those possible false flags, right? That they may try to implement false flags here in the United States and blame it on Iran to get people to be anti-Iran and pro-Israel once again. But I honestly think the population right now is too awake. I think people have really woken up, and we can't unsee what we saw. Right? Now, unfortunately, Ali Larijani was killed in Iran. And this, I was waiting to see if it was going to be confirmed by Iran, and it has been confirmed by Iran. And I got to show you something spooky about this, because there was something he said about the false flags just recently, and now he's gone. So again, Ali Larijani, he was killed in a strike by Israel.
The Israeli defense minister now confirms that Iran's top security official, Ali Larijani, has been killed in an overnight strike in Tehran. He was the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. We've got CNN's Oren Lieberman joining us from Tel Aviv. Ali Larijani was very important after the killing of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now we've heard news and confirmation from the Israelis that he has been killed in that strike in Tehran. How does this degrade Iran's decision makers and the ability to, keep on making the decisions that we've been seeing, and frankly, keep the regime intact?
Ali Larijani was considered one of the most key decision makers, if not the primary decision maker in Iran right now, crucially on security issues, but on other issues as well. He was also one of the most vocal and visible members of Iran's leadership. And that put him not only right at the top of the decision-making power in the country, but also right at the top of Israel's target list. We saw that when we learned a short time ago that Israel had targeted Ali Larijani in a strike in Tehran on Monday night. And now we see the statement from Defense Minister Israel Katz that Larijani has been killed in that strike, according to an Israeli assessment. We haven't yet seen an announcement or confirmation from Iran at this point, but we have already in the past, over the course of the first 2.5 weeks of this war, seen Israel get ahead of the Iranians in announcing who they have successfully targeted and assassinated when it comes to Iran's leadership. It wasn't just Larijani that was targeted overnight. The Israeli military said they also targeted the head of Iran's Basij paramilitary forces a short time ago. So Israel going after the top of the security leadership, and that will continue. Defense Minister Israel Katz, in announcing that Larijani had been killed, made clear that the effort to target Iran's leadership would not stop here. In a short statement, he said, "The Prime Minister and I have instructed the IDF to continue hunting the leadership of the terror and repression regime in Iran." So Katz making it clear at this point that Israel's continued goal as it goes after the Iranian regime's military forces, its space forces, its ballistic missile program, is to keep hunting down and killing the leadership of Iran's security forces and its political leadership. Anybody who is a decision maker in Iran, it's quite clear at this point, Israel considers a legitimate target that they will continue to go after here.
So Iran will just, again, rest in peace, Ali Larijani, but Iran will replace him with someone else. I would say from what I've seen from Ali Larijani, he tended to be a little bit more on the moderate side. He was actually willing, it seemed like, to try to work something out there. So it makes you wonder, like, who's now going to be in his position. And them going after these leaders and killing them, it doesn't change the fact that Iran is fighting back. You can't throw a punch and not to get, expect to get punched back. It's like if I walk down the street past you on Monday and I punch you in the face, and then I say you can't hit me back. I do it on Tuesday. Bam, pow to the face. You can't hit me back because I'm Israel. I see you Wednesday. I punch you, bow, bow. You can't hit me back because I'm Israel. Same thing on Thursday. And then something changes on Friday. I see you on Friday and I punch you in the face and you knock me the fuck out. That's where we're at, folks. Israel and the US, they continue to punch and bully. And the moment you strike back, all of a sudden, it's your fault. That's how I want you to look at this situation. Iran didn't do anything to the United States. Iran was minding its own damn business. Meanwhile, Israel has been on a path for years, this goes back decades, trying to kill scientists in the Middle East. Egyptian scientists, Iranian scientists, anyone outside of Israel, but in those other countries, they have been known for doing this because they don't want them to build or create anything that could help them fight back. Now, this is important because now you're going to see, let's bring up this part here, the impact it has on us. On us. This is the father and the mother of the 28-year-old airman who was just killed. He was one of the soldiers that died in that crash in Iraq. Listen to what they say about the war.
We didn't need to be in this war. You know, this is uncalled for. And this is what we get.
The family of Tyler Simmons tells me the news still feels unreal. They're filled with immense sadness and grief that their beloved pilot is gone, but also anger, feeling that his death could have been prevented.
It's just not fair. It's not fair at all.
But alongside their grief, Simmons' family is making a plea, calling on the United States to stop the war with Iran.
This could have been prevented. We didn't need to be in this war. You know, this is uncalled for. And this is what we get.
Families are suffering right now. Not only our family, but there are other families that's lost loved ones. And just to create a war because you want to create a war, it's not right. It is not right.
The crash brought the total number of U.S. service members killed since the conflict began to 13. Local for you, I'm Lexi Lepoff, NBC4.
And they don't count everyone. That's something we have to remember. So some of the people that might be special forces are not included in those death totals. I honestly believe that number is higher than what they're willing to tell us. There have also been reports, I haven't been able to confirm it, but there have been reports that U.S. soldiers have been captured. This is a clusterfuck. Absolute disaster. So Donald Trump has allies turning on him, walking away. I mean, his counterterrorism director resigns, says, peace, deuces, I'm out. If Tulsi Gabbard knows what's good for her, she would walk away too. Because here's the thing, the Trump administration isn't going to last, forever. Eventually, these people have to go on and get other jobs. People ever think about that? People ever think about that? Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, these people could be charged at some point. And the reality shows you this. I want to show you this picture as well, because we still don't know if Benjamin Netanyahu alive. They keep releasing videos and photos, right, of Benjamin Netanyahu. But you can check and see if it's real or not. In this video that was released today, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is saying, he's talking about like that they killed some of the people in this one. But he says, I'm here with the Israel defense minister and chief of staff, right? But then I'm going to show you what comes up when you search this. Watch this.
I'm here with Israel's defense minister, our chief of staff, the head of the Mossad, the chief of Air Force, our senior commanders. In the past 24 hours, we knocked out 2 of the terrorist chieftains, the top terrorist chieftains of this tyranny. Our aircraft are hitting the terror operatives on the ground, in the crossroads, in the city squares. This is meant to enable the brave people of Iran to celebrate the Festival of Fire. So celebrate and Happy Nowruz. We're watching from above.
So one thing that stood out to me about that video is that he doesn't mention their names. I thought that was important. But then this guy, the savior, he said, this is getting ridiculous at this point. You can take these images and insert them and check them, right? When is this image from? This image is from an Israeli war cabinet meeting held on October 23rd, 2023 at the Kiryat military headquarters in Tel Aviv. The photo depicts a high-level security assessment and press briefing shortly after the formation of the emergency unit government following the October 7 attacks. This was released on Benjamin Netanyahu's account today. So this is why, like I said, look, this video was released today, March 17th, 2026. If you watch the clip of this, the day will be March 18th, but you get the gist of it. But today, constantly, I guess, trying to show people, look, Benjamin Netanyahu is alive. But when you search that image, it says it's from October 23. Nowhere in that video does he say Ali Larijani's name. So I don't know what's going on. But I will say this. We now have AI, we have artificial intelligence that can make you believe some things, some strange things. Fortunately, quite a number of people on X don't believe these videos. But I'm just here to warn you guys, these AI videos, these deep fakes, like a lot of these things, it just, to me, it's like, it's almost like they're trying to make you guess what's real and what's not. They're really trying to confuse the people. And we went through those other videos from Benjamin Netanyahu. And I told you guys, I was like, I don't think these videos are really, if you look at, let's see here, there's that video. Here's this image here. And this was after people said, we haven't seen him or heard from him. Where has he been? They said at the government meeting, this video here, which that flag looks fake. So I don't know if that's a green screen or not. No, I think this is the one where it says Ali Larijani. Listen to this.
הבוקר חיסלנו את עלי לריג'ני. עלי לריג'ני זה הבוס של משמרות המהפכה, שזה חבורת הגנגסטרים שמנהלת בפועל את איראן.
So this is where it mentions Ali Larijani, right? So the flag over here doesn't look real. I don't know if there's a green screen being used or what, but that flag looks fake. And all I'm trying to tell you guys is there's a bunch of videos right now on YouTube that look like they're political news channels. But if you click on it and you see the videos, it's obvious that the person who is sitting there is AI. They got on the same clothes every video. They're not moving. It's monotone. It's so obvious. But you have to actually click the description box to see if it says altered or artificial content. And everybody doesn't know to do that. What I'm saying is, I still don't believe that Benjamin Netanyahu is necessarily alive. This guy looks different in all these videos as of recently. And I don't think they would come and just tell you, oh yeah, Iran got Benjamin Netanyahu. I don't think they would tell you that. So all we have seen from this war in Iran is more destruction. More people have been killed. And I just heard there was another baby that was killed in Iran as well. Notice the targets that Iran has. They're hitting empty buildings. It's the U.S. and Israel that is attacking actual civilians. Who's the real terror? Think about that. D said Candace Owens just said the same thing. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I just don't know about these videos. Like, something is off. Either Benjamin Netanyahu is hiding somewhere, or he's injured, or he's dead. Something is not right. Think about it. All right, ladies and gents, that is it for me tonight. We're going to do call in on Thursday night this week, guys, ladies and gents. But Eric's going to come on. He's going to read the rest of the super chats, and he's going to close out the show.
You know, he could also be ill, would be another possibility. Like he could be like deathly ill or something, and they don't want to let that out. Or he could be fine. I mean, it's hard to tell at this point.
I know. It just like, you know, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man, but something's going on. Something ain't right.
Like he could do a live interview, like, and that would put it to bed. If he just did like a live interview with like a U.S. network or something, then everybody would say, okay, he's alive. So I don't know. It's weird.
Mm.
There was
all right,
one
guys,
chat I wanted you to see.
Oh, yeah. What we got?
Check out this one.
Amanda! Israel's not manufacturing the war. The central bank, Vatican, and Masons are, like they always had. Ooh, interesting. Going back to the banks. What's up? Hi, Amanda.
All right. And yeah, I mean, my reaction to that was that, you know, sort of agree, but I always like to then connect more dots, right? Who's really on top of the billionaires in the top 0.1%, and the bankers kind of represent, they're kind of similar. But I think we really need to always be connecting to that top, right? Don't just call out Israel. Israel's nothing without the billionaires. So that's what I say. Call out the real power, and then maybe we can start working on what to do about that, because then you get to the corruption, and you got to have demands.
All right, guys. I'll see you live Thursday evening. Bye.
All right, cool. We'll let Sabby get on with her night, and I'm just going to close things down here for a few minutes. Yep, Eric T. Red here. And yeah, it's I like I was saying, we do want to. I would say that we do want to be careful about focusing really too much on Israel. I mean, it's fine to call it out as Israel. Israel has too much influence and all those things, but if you stop there on what you're looking at, what's happening, you're not going to get to the real root of it and how to fix it. And the real root of it, I would pose, and I think, you know, people would agree, it's about the corruption. And where does the corruption come from, right? Our government is implacably corrupt. It's ridiculously corrupt. Well, that's not really from Israel at the core. Like Israel didn't cause the Ukraine war. What causes these wars is that the wars are profitable. Profitable for who? The MIC, military industrial complex, defense contractors, those big mega corporations. But they're not, those mega corporations are not independent entities. Who owns the mega corporations and controls them? Who controls Wall Street? You get into the bankers and the billionaires. It's that top of that pyramid of control is that billionaire top 0.1% class. And it's important to recognize that, because then like what you want to go through is MCDS, right? Money, corruption. And I'm going to bring that up from the 11demands.org site, right? If you go to 11demands.org, and this browser's thinking about it. Here we go. And you know, you don't have to look too far at 11demands.org till you get to MCDS, money, corruption, demands, and solutions. And I would posit that if you use this framework as a way to look at any of these major issues, you can get to what's really happening and what to do about it. M, the money, right? Always follow that money. It's what's responsible. War is a racket. It's about profit. And who's got that money? It's that billionaire class. And what do they do with it? They use a little bit of it to feed into the corruption. They call the shots when it comes to Washington, D.C., our government, which is the biggest power in the world. It's the corruption. Ask anybody in this country, anybody in the world, do they think our government's corrupt? What'll be their answer, right? Hell yeah. But then it's also key to then have clear demands, robust, clear, dialed up to 11 demands. And the core demand is get rid of the corruption. Change our government from one that represents the billionaires, the top 0.1%, into a government that represents us like it's supposed to. That's the key and crucial demand. And when you have that demand and focus in, like if we look at the set of the 11 demands and you focus in, fix the big money in politics, then the solutions flow from that. Because how are you going to fix that corruption? With things like laws for clean elections, like that constitutional amendment, like regulating campaign spending and stopping AIPAC and really the real power brokers, the billionaires, from controlling our government and our elections. So, what 11 Demands is all about is those key things, having that clear vision of how to deal with these things and getting the 99% together in a movement with these clear demands. The other thing I thought of with that guy Kent resigning from Trump's administration is that it does show that there's a lane out there for people that we would see as being on the right, people on the left. If you have this clear set of demands, you have the potential for people to come together through that kind of a movement based on clear demands. One of the big clear demands is end the wars, right? So check it out if you want at 11demands.org. I'd say please do. There's also the 11 Demands Collective in there. You can check out if it sounds really good to you, and we'll keep those conversations going. Like Sabby said, we'll be back live on Thursday at 8 p.m. and you can get on the Zoom hangout that we call in on that day if you got things to say back about this, and we'll be talking. Meanwhile, we do have some conversation here from the old super chats. I got a few queued up here. Kenman said he liked One Battle After Another. Thanks for that one, Kenman. And thanks for the super chat. Cuba's Cosmonaut. Puts in a vote here for In-N-Out. In-N-Out is far better. NYC getting one soon. All right, we got support for In-N-Out burger there. And Marlon Well says, newsflash, we're losing. I hear you, Marlon. And thanks for the super chat, JJ, who notes that Michael B. Jordan also had a role on the show The Wire. Let's see, moving on through the queue. Thanks for the super chat, Abdullah. He says, first it was Ben Shapipi, and now it's Micro Mark 11. All right. And shout out to Brad Gilbert, who says, Trump does what he has to. He took the Rothschilds $1 billion. Yep. And I would just say, look at these things systemically. The Rothschilds are certainly a big, powerful set of billionaires. They're not the only ones. I'm saying, we need to look at it as a billionaire class. And about interests. The billionaires have a certain set of interests. They want to keep that money going to them, keep the corruption going, keep the grift going. The 99% has a very different set of interests. 99% want a world that works for everyone, that has peace, health, education, all the good things that work for the 99%, for all of us. It's a battle of interests, and it's up to us to demand a government that works in our interests. That's where it starts. Oh, and I wanted to note too, I got my green hat today for St. Patrick's Day, so we managed to get some green out here. And thanks for Fuzzy Balls. Fuzzy's got the green, they're sort of green tennis balls. Who says Keir Starmer in his previous profession contributed in denying Julian Assange's freedoms. Just an awful human being. I hear you, and that's who they get in these roles. Thanks for the super chat, Measured Man, who says, love you, Sabby Sabs. No, they said hell to the Nana. We'll try to stay connected, and he's about to travel. All right, Measured Man, safe travels, and we'll be hearing from you. And thanks for this one, Marlon. Israel is the deep state, the tail wagging the dog, USA. This was always about Greater Israel. Now we have to be on the lookout for a false flag event. Yep, we'll see. I mean, we do want to be looking out and aware. Like Scott Ritter said the other night, it is hard. It is harder than ever to pull off these kind of false flag events. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye out. It'll be interesting if the deep state or Trump Israel, one of these entities or, a U.S. deep state tries to pull off a false flag and then it gets leaked out and blows up, that could get really interesting. So we'll see what goes on. Thanks for this super chat. French Laundry, who says, R.I.P. Mrs. Weiss. And thanks for this one, Wasim, who says they also underestimated Hezbollah. I mean, it does feel like Iran and its allies are making this war hurt for those that are waging it on them, which is kind of how wars go. We do, at this point, we really should be impeaching Trump, impeaching and removing, and a real impeachment, not the political nonsense impeachment they did in his first term, but they should be impeaching him for real crimes like waging war, assassinating foreign leaders, inflicting ICE on, as his private army on the streets. There's no shortage of things to convict him for, to impeach and convict and remove him for. It's very telling that the Democrats, and especially the Democratic leadership, is not making a serious attempt to impeach him. They don't even seem to talk about it. So it just shows you they're not a real opposition party. It's a uniparty. The Republicans are one flavor of it. The Democrats are another flavor, but they're both representing billionaire interests. I would posit that is the key insight in all of this. If you want to understand politics, follow the money, follow the interests. And when you do that, and you see that both of the major parties are representing billionaire interests and not ours, I think it makes a lot of things become clear. And thanks for this super chat as well, Mr. Measured Man, who says, as a person who has run businesses and sat in S suites in Fortune 50 companies, the way he said that was executive presence. And F around and find out. All right. Thanks for that one. And shout out to, I think that's Etty, for becoming a new member on YouTube. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. And thanks for this super chat. What democracy? Of all world's teetotalers, Trump sounds the drunkest. Yeah, you hear that term sometimes, a dry drunk. And they can be problematic. And thanks also for this one, Measured Man. He says, Larry, give them people their tithes back. Your church, you told to move to Dubai. Fix it, Black Jesus. You don't get to start shit and dictate how they respond. Supporting Sabby Sabs as much as I can. Appreciate that, Mr. Measured Man. And this one also caught my eye from Dwayne, who said, never forget about the root cause of this war, President Trump's disastrous decision to attack Iran. And I would say agree, but keep connecting those dots. The reason Trump did that is like the reason Trump is so gung-ho about Iran, about Israel and supporting Israel, I would say a big, maybe, I don't know, is it the only part or the biggest part of that? Anyway, then what comes to mind, of course, is Miriam Adelson, the widow of the late Sheldon Adelson, who are huge Zionists. The way I like to phrase it sometimes is that Israel is a pet project of the billionaires. If you don't have the billionaires supporting this stuff, then this stuff just doesn't keep happening. It's important to note that, because then that shows us the path to fixing these things. As long as we have billionaires with this much wealth and this much power, we're going to have these wars. We're going to have these economic ups and downs, collapses. We're going to have all this crap that's going on. Part of it, they're like, so then you can ask the question, like, what do we do about the big picture? Isn't it capitalism? Isn't it the whole system? And I would say, yes, agree, but we have to look at how do we fix that? What are the systemic fixes? And the only way I can see that it really gets fixed, it goes back to government. As long as we have a government that's thoroughly corrupt and representing the billionaires, the top 0.1%, their interests and not ours, we're going to have all this. The billionaires are going to continue to get richer, which they have year after year. The wars are going to keep happening. All this stuff is going to keep happening. If we can get a mass movement that recognizes that and calls that out, it has clear demands, then you can start. That opens the door to getting other candidates in. If we start having those demands and we're saying we're not going to vote for anybody in these corrupt uniparties, we're only going to vote for people outside of that, people who talk like us and call out the corruption. And if that gets big, it's going to need numbers. It's going to have to spread into a mass movement. We all have a role to play in that, to making that happen. If it got to that, this is kind of the theory of operations behind 11 demands. We need a mass movement with clear demands for the strong focus on corruption. My talking about it and having 11 demands out there and just so forth, that isn't going to just get us there on its own. It's going to need the word to spread. It's going to need a mass movement with these clear demands. And then if you start having a government that starts working for the 99%, then you start having the possibility, then it starts fixing things. It starts ending these wars. It stops them from happening. It starts looking at taxation and how things are organized. It starts doing things that are in the 11 demands. That's the key. That's why they're there. With the billionaires, it starts doing things like real wealth taxes, to start shifting that tax burden from the 99% working class to the billionaire class. That would be a huge thing to do that, even somewhat. But, just doing that would be just incredibly transformative, just shifting that tax burden. All right, I've just about nattered at you enough for tonight, but there is one more Rumble rant that I'm just going through. Good amount of talk out here on the Rumbles. That's good to see. All right, just popping up. Here we go. There's a lot in there. It gets hard to scroll. All right, so a couple more buttons, and we'll be showing this Rumble rant. Here it is. All right. Thanks much for the Rumble rant from Meteor Dreams, who says, Sabby condolences to Keaton Weiss from Due Dissidents. His mom passed away from Parkinson's. He sent out a message this morning. Yeah, thanks for that, Meteor Dreams. And of course, we echo condolences to Keaton and his for his mother and their family. And hang in there. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. You can catch Sabby live on Thursday next at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see what we got for you then. I'm sure there'll be lots happening in the world. And we'll probably do the Zoom Hangout call-in after that. And of course, check out 11demands.org as always. And until that time, we'll see you. So have that good night. Keep up that fight. And we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.